morning. It's Dana with Tap Talk. Means it's Thursday. This is a pre-recorded conversation with artist Warren Kessler because I am out of the office this week and I didn't want to let the opportunity to talk with Warren pass us by. So let's get right to it and bring him onto the camera. Good morning, Warren.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing well. And yourself?
I'm well too, thanks. When I saw you before we hopped on to do this recording, I said, and I'm saying it again, I have not seen you in a really long time.
The last 2 years kind of flew by.
Yeah, we didn't really see anybody in the last 2 years, so I guess it's not that surprising. Warren, we have you on today because you are part of the round of most recent Individual Arts Partnership Grantees, which is this program that we started 10 years ago, where we raise money to give grants to individual artists to go off and do a variety of things. But Tanya reached out to me recently and said, you have got to talk to Warren Kessler. He is on fire about what he got to go off and do because of the IAP grant. So tell us, please, what did you do with the grant?
I used it to attend I think it was a 5-day workshop out in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania at the Ani Art Academy.
Way to be on brand, Warren.
That's right. With Anthony Wojciulis. He is probably the best painter of Trump Lloyd, which is the kind of painting I do, the highly realistic still lifes. Looked up to his work for years and kind of, befriended him on Facebook years ago and just kind of followed him. And then started doing these meetings here and there with a few other artists and kind of, stayed in the little Zoom meeting type thing.
Yep.
And the opportunity to come and study with him came up. And just so happened, the Arts Partnership Grant was at around the same time, and it all seemed to work out. So anyways, I was out at the Ani Art Academy, and he did the 5-day workshop for artists that are well established, but still don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
It was amazing to the stuff it seemed like it would be so easy, and we all were just like, how is this so hard?
Yeah.
But walked away with a ton of knowledge and contacts, and it was wonderful.
Well, that's outstanding. So I want to go back and dig a little deeper into some of this. First of all, the phrase Trump Lloyd is, I only know about it because I know you, because I'm not a visual artist. So explain to our audience, what does that even mean?
It's French for to fool the eye.
Okay.
And it's to paint a painting to the degree of realism that you think what is there is actually there. Like a lot of my work will have photographs that look like they're taped to a piece of wood, and everything is painted. So people think, oh, big deal, it's just something taped to a piece of wood. Like, no, the wood is painted too. And,
yep.
Oh, but then they don't quite get it, and they have to scratch at it to make sure that it's not really there. So I guess that's the best explanation.
I think that's a great explanation. When I think about your work, I think about a piece that you've done that's 4 or 5 generations of men in your family. And I think there's blue painter tape on that one. Yeah, and it's not blue painter's tape, it's painted painter's tape.
Right.
But it takes all I have in me not to do what you just did, which is to walk up to the canvas and try to pull that piece of tape off, because of course that piece of tape doesn't exist. So it's a shocking art form because it is so hyper realistic that it really does make you question what you're looking at and what you understand to be real and recreated real. So how in the world did you get into that? Because when I first met you, you were I hope this doesn't offend you, but you were a somewhat traditional landscapist. You were doing plein air painting. I'm thinking back to a long time ago when you did that beautiful show at the Rourke with John Offit, sort of those winter scenes and the landscapes on glass and canvas. What prompted you to move from that substantial body of also incredible work to this Trump Lloyd period that you're in now?
Anthony,
Okay.
the person who put on the workshop, I had seen his work in probably the earliest I remember seeing it was in Art Collectors Magazine in
Okay.
like 2002, I think it was. And I was like, what is this? This is amazing. Like, how does he do it? Like, I want to figure out how to do this. And I put it off. I put it off, and I'll try it sometime. And at one point, I just gave it a shot, and I was like, wow, this is a lot of fun. And cause I really like the detail and the, like, like people don't like the intricate nature of it, but I really do. So it just seems like it turned out it was a really good fit for me and my personality and the way I like to work. So yeah, I just kind of, it was through Anthony, I first discovered it, and then just give it a shot due to him, and kind of followed him, and yeah, ended up studying with him.
That's outstanding. So I'm curious, and I think you're going to be too humble to answer this totally honestly, but do you feel like you're a good Trompe l'oeil painter?
Compared to who?
Okay, compared to me, yes, we can answer that easily. I mean, how do you feel like you fit in that world? I guess it's not about ranking yourself, but how do you feel like you live inside that community of other artists doing this type of painting?
Well, there's always those that are better, and that's great because you always have something to try to strive towards. And that's kind of another great part of this opportunity to go out there was I've been following again a number of other painters now that are doing this, Natalie Featherston and Julie Beck, and they also attended, and so I was able to we ended up hanging out quite a bit during this, and just discussing, because we've all run into the same issues, how to try to recreate this or that, and how we go about it, and what we did that failed, we did work, So I'm in there. I don't know where I fit.
I would take that answer. That's a more that's a less humble answer than I thought you would give me, which I'm really pleased by, Warren, because it means that you are I think you are growing in your own confidence, which it comes from doing the work and studying with other greats and sort of putting yourself out there to be critiqued, which is not always easy to do. It's easy to sort of just be the top Trompe l'oeil painter in your town, but I see you really working at it, and I think that's really fabulous. So I'm curious to know, because the whole process feels so impossible to me, what are the joys of doing Trompe l'oeil, and what are the things that make you want to pull your hair out? Apparently
Already
quite a few.
I like just coming up with the compositions and just trying to find things that and then finding things that I'm interested in using, and then how am I going to try to render this? You can render it, but to the degree that somebody thinks it's in front of them and not a painting of something.
Yeah.
That is what I really like about it, to paint it and then have to push it this much further. Again, we were invited to bring pieces out to the workshop that we were working on that we might have troubles with to go over, and I brought out 2 pieces, and it was great to have all these people that you respect there and say, this works, this doesn't work, here's what you probably need to try to do on this piece. Go do it. So versus people who maybe have never painted this way, you can get kind of opinions or suggestions, but it's better, or I think it's better or more helpful to have people that are actually doing the same stuff. It's maybe a little more valuable than maybe pushes you a little bit further, quicker.
Yep.
I guess.
Yeah. So what are the really challenging pieces? And maybe you sort of just addressed that, but are there other things where you just are in the middle of it and think, oh my gosh, get me away from this work?
Most all of them at some point or another. You'll spend hours on something and step back and be like, it isn't working.
Yeah.
So you have to put it away and work on something else, work on another part of it. And think about it. Think about what did you do that didn't work? What's the next step? What's the most logical thing that might make it work? Is it a shadow problem, texture problem, value, chroma, lighting of still life? Is it not lit properly? You're painting it well, but the still life you're working off, because I work from still life
to
paint the pieces. Is it not? That was one of the issues we ran into with the painting I brought out there. Like generally with the Trump Lloyd, the way to pull off a really successful one is really good shadows. And I had not lit it to where I had good enough shadows on parts of it. And once I relit it, I was like, oh yeah, that'll fix the whole situation. Now it pops forward
to look like it's got depth and dimension.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's so interesting. Interesting that the problem was not in your painting, but in the creation of the inspiration for the painting.
Maybe a little bit of both, but yeah, the actual setup did, once I relit how it would work better with the stronger shadows.
Yeah.
And I would put the stronger shadows in the painting. Totally bumped up that factor of believability, I guess.
Warren, do you use oil or acrylic to do Trompe l'oeil?
I'm oil.
You do oil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oil, exclusively oil.
Okay. So I have two more quick questions for you. One is, are the great Dutch masters who did those unbelievable portraits in the 17th and 18th centuries, are they considered Trompe l'oeil painters, or is that something completely different? Sort of those portraiturists and those other great painters from that era.
I think that era would be like Herberli. I believe it was one of the. Okay. They did more of a still life of their era, their objects and whatnot. But yeah, just the Dutch, and I mean they're interior
tough to top, aren't they?
They're just like, yeah, you could just go right in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they did have a number of painters that were more still life oriented, which would be more the traditional Trompe l'oeil, I guess.
Okay. And then my second and last question for you is, are you working in other types of painting, or are you sort of exclusively in a Trompe l'oeil period of your active artistic life?
Oh, yeah, primarily the Trompe l'oeil. I jump between the landscape and the Trompe l'oeil. It's nice. I do like the plein air, which is to paint in the open air, another French term. Just to kind of mix things up, like you said, like sometimes you need to get away from what you're doing. So yeah, I like to go, spend some time outside and paint from life, paint from nature, be in nature, paint from nature. So I'll continue doing the landscapes and the Trompe l'oeil. And as far as oil painting, yeah, I probably will stick mostly with the Trompe l'oeil. I don't know if I'm not too interested going into like portraits or anything. So
well, I'll just say that I'm grateful to hear that you're still doing landscapes. I happen to be like a very traditional art lover of landscapes. I think a beautiful landscape is really tough to top because they're so evocative of a place, which I love. So I'm glad to hear you haven't given those up altogether. Warren, just really quickly, this is a stupid question, but I'm just going to ask it and give you the opportunity to come up with an answer I think you will come up with. I hope you will anyway. What do you have to say to other artists who are thinking, wait, there are grants from the Arts Partnership to go do training? Should other people look into that program and consider applying for themselves?
Definitely. Yes. Not only just for the grant, like to go to workshops, everything, studio stuff,
equipment, training. Yeah.
No, definitely take advantage of it, because I don't know that I would have been able to fully. and this trip was, it all worked out. Really, the timing was unbelievable, and I'm very grateful for the Arts Partnership and being able to help out with going out there and doing this. It literally, it has changed everything. The way I was working, studio setup, like we covered so many different aspects of painting. Just substrates to paint on, the paint itself, lighting, like use of Photoshop, photography of the work, just everything. He was an open book on stuff. And so I guess I would encourage the people that would want to join, apply for the grants. Definitely find whatever your focus is. Try to find somebody that's doing it the best, and reach out to them and see if they are doing workshops, or if they would consider start doing workshops. Who knows? Like a lot of, I'd say 99% of the painters I know would absolutely have needed the workshop, just because, like more free and like not detail oriented, and maybe the technical side of stuff wouldn't be their thing. But it was definitely what I was needing, and it fulfilled what I was looking for. So I'd say go out, potters, photographers, whatever, just reach out to those that you admire. Worst thing to say is no, or not respond at all. But I've been really lucky to have the painters and what I'm working with. I've been super, super great about reaching back to coming back to you with questions and stuff, and being super nice. Like I said, it was like to go to this workshop, and like two of the painters that I admired quite a bit. One was like, "Oh, I'm driving down and I'm picking up Julie on the way. Can I get you from the airport?" So,
wow.
So picking me up from the airport, and then so it was just a really super great bunch of people. It was great to just spend 5 days specifically working and thinking about and dealing with painting, and not having to deal with general issues.
General life.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, Warren, you couldn't have given me an answer I could have scripted any better. So thank you for that. Thanks for investing in your own artistry. I think it's so important for all of us who are makers at any stage of our careers to take the risk, get a little bit vulnerable, be prepared to be critiqued in ways that might not always feel great. But
I was so nervous.
Yeah, I bet you were. I would have been too. Yep. Yep.
Like the person you admire, and other people that are in your working with, in what you're working with, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna look like a fool in front of these people. But we all got your personalities tend to mesh really well, and it's like, oh yeah, I see your problem. I've had that problem. Here's what we're gonna do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was fantastic. So soon after, things were all right, and it was funny. Like when we first got there, Anthony had on Blackboard put on there. The welcoming message was, "You have all made a huge mistake."
Well, you can only go up from there.
Yeah.
Well, Warren, thanks so much for joining us and sharing some of what you learned. I can't wait to see your work in person post this training, because it was incredible before you went. I can't even begin to imagine what it's going to look like on this end of it. So thanks for sharing that with us, and congratulations on the grant and on taking the risk. I love, 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 love that you did that. So everybody else will be back live next week. And as always, thanks to 702 Communications for the sponsorship. We'll see you next week. Thanks.